We're having a look at the set of gadgets that are great to travel with a smartphone. And the first one is one of these fantastic keyboards. As you can see, types there, and it's the one thing that translates having a smartphone to being much more like having a laptop computer. This is a Bluetooth one. It has a little charging cable that you can plug into a bunch of chargers, which I'll show you later. Or just switch it off, and there you see it folds up really neatly. So that's a number one tool. The next thing you're always going to need is some cable for connecting your phone to things. This is a neat one because it's a micro USB and it has mini USB, which is what my camera uses. Stretchy, very small. How handy is that? Then we're going to need some charging devices. So we've got our cable, and here's 2 or 3 different ways of charging your phone when you're traveling, and you're always going to want to have several different ways of doing it. The first is just this very simple USB cable. Look how small that is. Just USB adapter plugs in like that. That's the Australian socket. Here's a microscopic Italian adapter for it. It is so tiny, that little set, compared to what you might otherwise have when you have a big charger. Get rid of the big chargers. Another way, just carry a spare battery. Can't do it with an iPhone, of course, but intelligent Android phones, spare battery. How about this? A little AA battery charger. It has a torch in it. I've protected the batteries with plastic there so that they don't lose their charge. So those 2 or 3 different ways of charging there. You don't need to have all of those, but having 1 or 2 of them would be great. You'll notice the phone's standing up. Tiny little stand. This is my favorite, but here's another one that kind of does the same thing. How does this one work? Can never remember how to set this one up here, and this one sits like that. I like that one better. Then you're going to want to connect to the internet. You can always change the SIM card to a local SIM card. You certainly want to be using a local SIM card. It's much vastly cheaper. Or you can get one of these great little gadgets. This is a wireless node, so it can accommodate 5 people using it. And the advantage of using one of these with a local SIM card, and here's an example, an Italian one for going to Italy shortly. The advantage of using this is that you can leave your normal phone SIM card in the phone, and that means that things like Viber will work properly because you've got the correct phone number, and if people are trying to call you urgently or send you text messages, you haven't got to keep swapping SIM cards. So the really important thing, of course, is to be making sure that you're turning off your mobile data when you're traveling and using Wi-Fi instead. So that's really critical. So this is a really neat little device. Charges on the same kind of cable as everything else. Hosts a supplementary SD card if you want to. So there you go. There's your wireless for 5 people. Of course, if you're mucking around with SIM cards, not bad to carry one of these tiny little kits that allows you to adapt different size SIM cards for different kinds of devices. My phone happens to use the smallest of the SIM cards, I think, and so if I needed to swap a SIM card between one device or another, these will allow me to do that. Of course, you might be using the phone in the car. So first of all, you'll want a car charger. There's a really neat one with 2 little USB devices, uses the same cable. And this little neat thing, this is a stand you can use in the car, and the advantage of this is that it's got this sticky, tangy plastic, so you can put the phone on there and it really sticks on. I actually give it a bit of a boost by using elastic as well, just over one side of it, and that'll sit on the dashboard of any car. And I made this little rubber supplementary thing here, and this is a sunshade that just sticks on with Velcro. I'm going to stick that on there very roughly, and you've got a bit of a sunshade so that the sun coming in on the dashboard doesn't distract your vision. Again, folds up or incredibly small for traveling. There you go. How neat is that? You might want to make phone calls, which is what phones are for, so a couple of earpieces you want to look at. Just a standard earpiece, of course, so you can walk and talk or use it phone driving a car. Or I love this little this one here, which is a tiny Bluetooth one, folds away, again charges with a tiny little cable. How small is that? That's the neatest thing you can imagine. A couple of other handy little things. Of course, you might want to have your little touch screen doodah. This one's got a built-in pen and attaches to the top of the phone through the earpiece socket, so that's pretty cool. Here's another neat little device. Needs a charger, uses the same kind of micro USB. This, my friends, is an HDMI connector. Plug it into the back of any modern television. The phone will give you HD TV, so you can watch your favorite movies and videos, films you've made with this HDMI adapter. That's just genius. Oh, I forgot to want another way of charging, of course. Carry a little solar charger. I don't carry this all the time, so it gets its own case, this one. Very small and handy, only the size of a phone. You'll be walking through the desert and you'll never run out of charge. But I've actually left my favorite to last. This is an OTG connector. And this allows you, without having to open up the phone to put a SD card in, to connect any USB device. You can get a micro SD card, 64 gigabytes, plug in there, so you can back up from your phone to something else if you're using a phone as your camera, or you can back up your camera to your phone. This is probably the #1 most brilliant thing I've come across, and you really want to carry one of these for backing up when you're traveling. All of this gadgetry is just tiny, fits in a little bag like this. You probably don't need it all, so you don't need to pack it all in there. You probably only need one kind of charger, maybe a spare battery and a couple of adapters. And away you go. This little kit here will basically replace your laptop computer. Just about as much memory, far more adaptable. How easy is that? And you've got your wireless there as well.